We're Robin and Steve. We left off in the island of Epi, then had a beautiful sail to Malekula.
Oh, lovely.
It was so calm that we could do some bucket laundry on deck. And some baking. Our oven has one heat, extreme. Baking a cake in a bigger tray of water seems to prevent it from burning. And why not bake vegetables at the same time? So we're not heating up the boat just for a cake. Meals were cooking and laundry was hanging out to dry. Here's a nut we were given back on Aramango. The kernel tastes a bit like a mix between almond and coconut with the consistency of radish. And the few avocados we got were memorably delicious. Now safely anchored in Malekula, we went snorkeling. Given that Cyclone Pam did this to a mega yacht in 2015, we weren't surprised that the coral looked like this. It's weathered many storms, even since 2015. Yep, the world's a mess, but this place is nice, and was calm enough for me to dabble in my impractical hobby, dangling. Despite my high platform, I didn't spot any dugongs from up here. But dugong spotting is what we were here to do. Our friends Rich and Jude had the same mission. We had the best hope on a glassy morning like this. After bobbing about in the glass for about 20 minutes, we'd see distant ripples. And glimpse a tiny bit of a large body that broke the surface. So we'd seen dugongs, or at least tiny parts of them. We explored further afield in the Maskelynes Islands, and at low tide you could appreciate why dugongs may like this area, with its vast fields of seagrass. They weren't the only animals to like living in seagrass. Here's a sea snake, a banded sea crate, and here's this thing. A sea worm type thing, and beyond the seagrass, shallow water corals. After Steve, Rich, Jude and I enjoyed our seagrass exploration, we found a patch of healthy coral. Chief Sophrain and his wife Jocelyn had given us permission to explore the area. Our self-designated tour guide was Lucy, who without speaking a word showed us around the village. I taught a bunch of people, including the chief, how to do a cartwheel. Here's Richard demonstrating.
Very nice.
Again in slow motion, Richard could lengthen his knees and point his toes, but overall...
Very nice. Oh, it's whistling.
We carried on, escorted by dolphins and by friendly families in dugout canoes. This man's taking a banana tree for a paddle. Nice day for it. a shot of our laundry. The sunset's not bad either. It has to be quite high tide to visit the village here, so while we waited, we went and visited a sandbar, where Steve had an epiphany.
You don't see much until you just stop and stare at it, do you?
And then there's heaps. Heaps. So much. Look at all those big crabs.
During the night, the clouds delivered, and we were ready with pots and bowls to catch the rain, which we then transferred to our shower bag. We were now in Uliveo. Our boat neighbours, David and Bruce, offered to show us around. There's a huge school here, with over 1,000 students. The locals are building a new kindergarten here, and this is just one of many projects undertaken by the Butterfly Trust. As well as projects, we got to see the whole island, like this local jungle gym and many fruit trees.
Whoa, nice. Show your new bag, Jude. That's beautiful.
The main mission for the day was to test salinity of water in the local wells throughout the island. Sea level rise due to climate change has affected the usability of these wells. Ideally, there should be a total salinity of less than 700 milligrams per litre, so this well could be used for drinking water. This is a nakavika tree. Imagine a mild, super crunchy apple with a hint of rose water. Water quality is affected here as the sea level rises, and these people may have to relocate. The people want to live here for as long as possible, as this has been their home for generations. David and his wife Lynn have been assisting with projects here for many years. They find out what the locals need, and then basically help the locals to help themselves. Here are just a few things that were going on through the Butterfly Trust while we were there. I'm not into advertising on YouTube, but I'm super impressed by the work done by the Butterfly Trust to help people help themselves in really practical ways, which is more important than ever now, given the very real impact of climate change on these people. Have you ever seen a cocoa bean?
But
It's loaded. Look how much chocolate's in there.
Yeah, it's like sitting in a mucus sort of bath, isn't it?
You should go into marketing. Our next stop was Port Sandwich. There have been several shark attacks in the area, so it's not recommended that you swim. But a trip to the Rainbow Store is recommended. Apart from their mother tongues, people here speak Bislama, and on this island, French, at which I'm terrible. Nous aimons le pain. After buying some bread, we went off for what started out as a quiet walk. But we were soon joined by the kids who had gone home for lunch, but who were now returning to school.
don't show them.
These boys were keen to see Richard ride a bike, and he didn't take much convincing. We saw the remains of some old French buildings and other weather-affected constructions. And we'd seen many pigs, but this was the pig of the day. It's been a very wet winter here. There's no need for fancy shoes here. On this day we walked over 20 kilometres, and even our shoes were a bit tired. It's disturbingly easy to find odd shoes on the beach around the world, and Steve had spares for Richard. A twist on the Cinderella story.
Definitely a bigger foot.
I was super excited about our next adventure. We left Port Sandwich and headed across to Ambrym, a gorgeous island with an active volcano and hot springs. Where we stood, it was as warm as a hot bath, but we weren't sure how hot it was further in, so we were a bit reluctant to get in. And we knew there were more hot springs nearby. Just a short and scenic paddle around the corner, we could feel the water temperature rise.
Yes.
Hot water was pouring out of the cliffs. Trickling into the sea. And bubbling up through the beach. So it took a little while to relax and to find the Goldilocks spot. Not too hot, but just right.
Oh,
We'll leave off here in
fish
Ambrym.
jumping.
But we still have a lot more to see in our time in Vanuatu, including celebrating the 44th anniversary of independence in Vanuatu and joining the dots in this picture. Why not finish with more dolphins?
Big.
We've got little ones and big ones.